If you pay attention to pop culture, then you have seen the incendiary headlines about Kanye West. And even for a man with a penchant for inflaming the public consciousness, these recent headlines and some of the sound bites have been particularly incomprehensible for a lot of people. I too have had such a poor understanding of mental health issues for most of my life, but I've learned a lot in the past 2 years in an effort to just better support my own loved ones as they courageously face their own struggles every single day. So I'm making this video because I've seen a lot of ignorant, hurtful comments that have been really hard for me to read. And it has been a bit disheartening to see how little the average person knows about and understands mental illness, especially in 2020. But this video is all about hope and contributing toward positive change. Disclaimer, this is not medical advice. I am not a therapist. This is based on my own experiences as well as reading that I've done. What is stigma? So we often hear the word stigma used in conjunction with talking about mental health, but what does it really mean? So as you can see here from the Google definition, it's something that's tied to shame, it's tied to honor, it's tied to reputation. People can sometimes assume that if somebody has mental illness, it's due to some kind of character defect or, there's some terrible decisions they've made and now this is their consequence. And I can't stress enough what a toxic, harmful mindset that is to have. Or to associate mental illness with weakness, which unfortunately many cultures have a habit of doing. Like any kind of illness, there are many factors that contribute to a diagnosis. And like any other illness, these things just happen due to no fault in the affected person. Lack of control. Perhaps the most important thing to stress is that Kanye and others with similar ailments have virtually no control over many of their thoughts and expressions, especially when their symptoms are at their most severe. Like, think about it this way. Would you blame somebody with cancer and say it's their fault that their cells are attacking their other cells and say, hey, you need to have a better handle of your cells? If you are a decent human being, and I hope you are, I hope no weirdos are watching my videos, of course you wouldn't say those things to somebody. A person with mental illness cannot help that their brain is attacking itself. I mean, of course, they don't want these things to be happening. And when the symptoms are at their worst, the person has no idea what is happening in their brain. Like, I was talking to my girlfriend, the light of my life and world, the other day, and she herself struggles with mental illness, and our dialogues have really taught me so much over the past couple years. And we were just talking about, where do these out of control, irrational thoughts come from? And the way I try to understand it is like this, right? All of us have no control over the thoughts that enter our minds. And sometimes those thoughts are terrible and pained, insecure, nonsensical. And most of us are able to differentiate between thoughts that feel, quite true, quite valid, and need to be expressed, versus thoughts that have no proof or evidence and are just the darkest parts of our mind vomiting something up, trying to make us feel terrible. With certain mental illnesses, that mechanism is broken, and there's no way of telling what's real and what isn't. And all of the most frightened, vile, terrible thoughts become real, hijacking that person's sense of existence. So what exactly is bipolar disorder? So it typically swings between manic or hypomanic episodes and major depressive episodes. Kanye's behavior points to the former. This means abundant energy and jumpiness. This means racing thoughts and distractibility, like we've seen in his tweets. There are delusions of grandeur, like running for president a few months before the election, when it's too late to get on the ballot in many states. There are paranoid delusions, like we've seen him express toward his family, and impulsive, poor decision-making, like the hasty, thrown-together campaign rally he had in South Carolina. And just to clarify what delusions actually are, they are beliefs that are immune to proof, logic, and evidence. No matter what you say or what you do, you are not going to get somebody to doubt a delusion when they are in the thick of its hold. Imagine this, right? Think about where you went to high school. And you say, okay, I know I went to high school here. Now imagine I go up to you and I tell you, no, you didn't go to high school there. You went to high school here. And you're like, what are you talking about? I know where I went to high school, and I keep on pushing the point, and you're getting pissed at me because how would I know where you went to high school better than you know where you went to high school? That's the strength of a delusion, right? Only it's about things that are like, they are putting microchips in the water. I've been trying to get divorced from my wife for over 2 years, ever since this instance, when it's pretty clear that that's not the case. My family are white supremacists when they're not white supremacists, etc., etc. Why isn't the family getting him help? It's like Kim mentioned in her Instagram story, they are trying really hard. The way the laws are set up in America, it does not allow someone with a mental illness to be placed into hospital care without their permission unless they are a direct threat to themselves or others. Anybody who's been in a similar spot knows the family must be doing everything they can, which legally in this country is not very much. Kanye even had a tweet that Kim was trying to fly out there to get him placed on a 5150, which is a 72-hour psychiatric hold. But you cannot force someone to take medication. You cannot force someone to go into therapy. As desperately as you want to see your loved one get better, legally your hands are tied. Like Kim mentioned, the person has to seek treatment of their own volition. This is an incredibly difficult situation because most often when somebody is suffering from delusions, they do not think they are ill. They do not think that they need help. And they are often terrified, through no fault of their own, that the medication is poison or mind control or some other terrible thing. So how can you help? We need better laws. We need the mental health crisis response teams that have been talked about as part of the defund the police movement. The current system in the United States makes it painfully difficult to get adequate help for people in need. And for privacy reasons, I don't want to get too into it, but it can be absolute hell for families going through this. And my hope is that things change going into the future, so as we progress as a society, fewer and fewer people have to know the hell of what that can be like. But until things do change, I mean, all we can really do is do our best to understand, to love, to show support, and to keep our loved ones safe until they are in a place to be able to get that help that they need. So to end this video, I just want to say 1 in 4 people. It's about time society really understood the realities of mental illness. We need to make talking about these issues as shameless as talking about cancer or diabetes or heart disease, because millions of people are going through experiences like this every day. Our loved ones with mental illness face extraordinary struggles, and an environment of judgment, cruelty, blame, and prejudice is not how we make things better. We need to stay open to learning, I'm learning every day. We need to cultivate grace, we need to cultivate kindness, and we need to practice being able to give support, especially in the moments that we find it the hardest to give. I'm going to include links in the description if you would like to learn more, and also some organizations you could donate to if you are feeling so inclined. And I would love to talk more about these issues with anybody, so just feel free to leave a comment, start a discussion. I'm right here on the other end of that to be in communication. It's so important. It's so important, and it's just, people talk about it a little bit, but not to the extent that they should. But I thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it valuable, and I hope you have a lovely day.